Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 175.
And I'm Daphne, and this is a particularly timely topic.
And I am Fred, and I'm ready to explore one of the biggest challenges facing, well, our entire industry today.
It really is. I mean, it's the conversation everyone is having.
It absolutely is. And this discussion was actually suggested by our show producer, Kurt Robbins. He pointed us toward a topic that is keeping a lot of technical writers up at night.
The survival paradox, right? How you deal with these immense generative AI systems.
Exactly. How do you succeed when the AI models you're dealing with have absorbed, just text beyond any possible human comprehension?
And we're looking at a brilliant piece of analysis that really reframes the whole discussion. It's from an article by Maria Sivenkova.
Right. It was published on LinkedIn, I think January 8th, 2026.
That's the one. It's called What to Do If You Can't Compete with the 3.6-terabyte Model, a technical writer's survival guide in 2026.
And that number, that 3.6 terabyte figure, whether it's literal or not, it just hammers home the point, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. Trying to outread or outtype a machine on that scale is just, it's futile.
So the core of our conversation today is really about addressing that absurdity and showing how you as a writer have to fundamentally pivot your mindset to succeed.
Let's start right there with the absurdity, because the author points out this really strange misunderstanding that's happening right now.
I found the irony here just so compelling. So on one hand, the world is telling you you can't possibly match the throughput of a 3.6 terabyte model.
Right. Your human brain is just insufficient.
Then at the same time, a lot of companies, a lot of managers, they discourage those exact same writers from using AI tools to, augment their own work.
It's the ultimate professional double bind. You're too slow, you're too small to keep up with the machine.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also told not to use the power tools that could actually help you scale up.
The article uses a perfect analogy for this. It's like telling a skilled carpenter they can't possibly compete with a giant furniture factory.
Okay, yeah.
But then you also forbid them from using a circular saw or a nail gun. You've just created these artificial constraints that make the whole comparison meaningless.
And this is where that crucial shift in mindset comes in. Sivenkova had this kind of epiphany while she was building custom GPTs for her own writing process.
She realized the whole idea of competing was the wrong way to look at it.
Exactly. She understood that focusing on competing with the model's sheer size or its speed, that was the wrong metric entirely. She wasn't competing with it.
So what was the realization then?
She was designing the workflow that shaped it. That changes the entire value equation,
It really does. It reframes your role completely.
Yeah. Building an AI-assisted workflow didn't diminish her role as a writer. It actually reinforced it. It turned her into the chief architect of the content process.
An architect. I like that. So if we aren't valued for sheer output, we have to look much closer at what our irreplaceable human contribution actually is.
And the answer is our judgment, our taste, our innate sense of structure. Those uniquely human things are what give the AI system its initial value.
The machine can generate 1 million words, but it can't choose which ones are the best ones.
Exactly. Not for your audience or your brand or your specific knowledge base. That's where taste comes in.
So let's dig into that idea of taste in a technical context. It can sound a bit fluffy, but it's really critical, isn't it?
Oh, it's everything. Taste is the synthesis of your experience. It's knowing when an AI-generated solution is, okay, technically correct, but way too complicated for a new user.
Or when the tone is just off.
Right. It's making sure the tone aligns not just with a style guide, but with the user's emotional state in that moment. That's a human judgment call.
So your thought process literally becomes the architecture for the AI. You're not the typist anymore. You're the structural engineer defining the whole project.
Yes, exactly. The formula for success becomes pretty straightforward. It's your human ingenuity plus the AI's capacity and speed. That's where it all starts to click.
But I imagine it can be hard to maintain that synergy. How do you avoid feeling just overshadowed? That initial writing anxiety is real.
That's a crucial point, and it's why the author moves from the philosophical to the practical. She realized you have to think about how you interact with the tools.
Okay.
And this led her to the concept of separating mental modes to prevent what she calls Mode confusion.
Mode confusion. I've not heard that term before, but it makes immediate sense, that feeling of jumping between exploring and actually executing.
We do it constantly. You need divergent thinking, that's exploring ideas, gathering context, and you need convergent thinking, which is making decisions and imposing structure.
And the problem is trying to do both at once in the same tool.
Yes, forcing both of those functions into a single interface just causes enormous stress for the writer, so she developed two separate tools.
Okay, so let's break that down. What's the first mode?
The first is the divergent mode. This is your low-stakes exploration stage. You're just trying to get oriented. This is what inspired her to create a tool she calls the similarity finder.
And the convergent mode. That's the high-stakes part.
That's the drafting and execution, yeah. That's where you take all that context and you force it into a coherent shape. And for that, she built a different tool, the blog editor.
Because forcing it all into one place creates that mode confusion. You feel overwhelmed because you're trying to explore and commit at the same time.
It's a disaster. That pressure to decide too early, it just kills creativity. And as the article says, when one tool tries to do everything, it slowly becomes a tyrant.
A tyrant. That's a strong word, but it feels right.
It forces you to comply with its structure before you're ready.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Kurt Robbins.
Hi, this is Kurt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the Technical Writing Success Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about mode confusion and how specialized tools are really the key to an anxiety-free workflow with AI.
Right. This idea of two distinct tools, the similarity finder and the blog editor, that's what allows you to stay in control, to be the architect.
Exactly. So let's look at that user journey. You'd start with the similarity finder.
Which sounds like the ultimate pre-writing sanity check. It's dedicated entirely to that divergent exploration mode.
That's its whole function. It's designed specifically to reduce anxiety because, and this is crucial, it doesn't ask you to commit to writing a single word of text.
A safe space.
A safe, low-commitment environment where you can answer those orientation questions before you feel that pressure to draft.
I love the questions it's designed to answer. As a writer, you feel that pit in your stomach when you ask yourself, am I just reinventing the wheel here?
We've all been there. We've all spent 2 days drafting something just to find out someone else in the company wrote almost the same thing last year.
Oh, yes.
So the finder is there to check existing content, to answer what have we already said about this, and to scan outside sources for how do other people introduce this topic.
It grounds you without demanding output. And it also answers that other crucial question, what patterns exist that I could lean on?
Right. It lets you find a blueprint without having to draw it from scratch. It unblocks that early thinking.
Okay, so once you have your direction, once you have that context from the finder, you switch tools, you move over to the heavier, more demanding blog editor.
That's the shift into convergent mode. The blog editor only gets involved once a direction actually exists, and it is a very structured tool.
Yeah.
Its job is to impose order.
So what does the blog editor demand that the finder deliberately avoids?
Specificity. It immediately pushes for structure. It asks clarifying questions to really nail down your core intent.
Okay.
And then, based on your answers, it generates concrete outlines and helps you draft sections. It is built for execution, not for exploration.
And that contrast is why the separation is so important. If you're still exploring, that kind of structure is it's counterproductive. You'd resent the tool.
You would. By separating the modes, you, the writer, you stay the architect. You use your unique human judgment and taste to decide when to apply that massive AI capacity and how it should be structured.
So if we circle all the way back to the start, that big, scary question, how do we survive the 3.6-terabyte model?
It means you have to accept that competing on the mechanical stuff, typing speed, analysis, throughput, it's futile. And honestly, we should celebrate that. That battle is over.
And that frees us up to focus on what actually matters.
Yes. The real value proposition, your value, is in applying those uniquely human qualities, judgment, taste, experience, to make the writing meaningful and targeted.
So your future doesn't lie in competing with the machine.
Not at all. It lies in providing the architectural insight, that human guidance to make sure the AI's power is applied with purpose.
That focus on judgment and using the right tool for the right mental mode. That's what defines success. And it sounds like the ultimate antidote to writing anxiety.
It truly is.
Thank you for listening to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.